what happened outside Andhra Pradesh. I am saying Andhra Pradesh because Telangana and Andhra regions were together in united Andhra Pradesh in 1970s. Till 2014, our fate was together. So, in Andhra Pradesh, what was happening during this point of time? That is important. And before going to that, remember, whatever I am teaching today and in the next class also, you will not find in the books, either in Telugu Academy books and some other books. But these questions are important. The points are important in your bits. In many of the TSPSC exams, they have asked some of the bits which is outside these prescribed books. So I am trying to give you more number of points related to Naxalite movement, objective bits plus a conceptual aspect of Naxalite movement. So now coming back to our topic, that is Naxalite movement in Telangana. We are talking about Telangana's Naxalite movement, but before Telangana there was an area which is completely active and taken up the Naxalbari struggle in its region, that is Srikakulam armed struggle. Srikakulam armed struggle happened between 1967-1970, that is 3 years of period. Then it was inspired by Naxalbari, that is happening in Bengal. CPM leaders of the district came out of CPM and launched this struggle. And the struggle in the tribal areas, because tribal areas were the areas which were completely infested. I am using the word infested with the exploiters. Infested with the exploiters. Why infested I am saying means so many money lenders, outsiders and the forest department officials. All these people were exploiting the tribals. So tribals were the people who were the main victims. And CPM leaders of the district like Vempatapu Satyam, Adibatla Kailasam, Subbarao Panigrahi, Panchadi Krishnamurti and Nirmala, all these people were locals and these people took up the struggle and great Srikakulam armed struggle happened. This Srikakulam armed struggle has brought many questions to the fore. That is, whether the people, the students, intellectuals, teachers, writers, are they on the side of the toilers or the oppressors? Are they on the side of the toilers or the oppressed or the oppressors? Piditula Pakshama, Pidinche Vala Pakshama. This was a question raised by Srikakulam movement that has inspired a generation of educated in Andhra Pradesh. Telugu speaking youth, students, teachers, intellectuals, lawyers, everyone was inspired by this movement, and that is helping the movement to come into Telangana. This is a direct link from Srikakulam to Telangana. It is not Srikakulam completely separate, because Srikakulam movement was completely suppressed by Jalagam Vengalrao by 1970. But Srikakulam did not stop there. Srikakulam movement has its echo or its sound made in Telangana too. Because in all aspects of life in Andhra Pradesh, in Telugu cultural milieu, Naxalbari and Srikakulam reverberated. This is what we can see. So this Srikakulam struggle inspired, and at the same time, Naxalbari and Srikakulam, all these things, as I said, CPML party is formed, Charu Mazumdar as the general secretary of the party. He visited Srikakulam. He came to Andhra Pradesh along with Kanu Sanyal and communist leaders from Andhra Pradesh. Important people of Naxalite movement, remember these names. These can be asked. One is Kondapalli Sitaramaya. Kondapalli Sitaramaya was in CPI, and he was in CPI during the Telangana armed struggle, Krishna district secretary, but later became inactive in CPI because of various reasons. He was not actively taking part in CPI or CPM activities, but he settled down in Warangal and doing farming. And when the Naxalbari call came, he again took up the political activity and rose into action. KG Satyamurthy, another communist leader, was from Krishna district, and he was also one of the pioneer in Naxalbari movement in Andhra Pradesh. Then the third one, SM Rawouf of Anantapur, same CPM leader, took the call of Naxalbari and coming into this activity. Another person, Devulapalli Venkateshwar Rao, a person who participated in Telangana armed struggle directly, a native of Nalgonda, was active, and Devulapalli Venkateshwar Rao, popularly known as DV, was also there in Naxalbari raised struggle or struggles inspired by Naxalbari. T. Nagireddy, Tarimela Nagireddy from Anantapur. T. Nagireddy was an MLC too. And T. Nagireddy from CPI, CPM, and Tarimela Nagireddy wrote a book, Takattulo Bharat Desham. This was asked in one of the TSPSC examination, Takattulo Bharata Desham, India Mortgaged, the book written by Tarimela Nagireddy, was also one of the Naxalite leader of this period. Then Chandra Pullareddy, again a person inspired by Telangana armed struggle and continuing into the struggle. So all these names are in Naxalite movement in Andhra Pradesh. So what is happening here? Communists from Andhra Pradesh are in touch with the communists of Bengal or Naxalbari. Communist means it is CPI-ML here, not CPM or CPI. So they were together, and Charu Mazumdar came to Andhra Pradesh. He visited Srikakulam also. He came to Guttikonda Bilam. There they had a meeting. This Guttikonda Bilam is in Guntur district, in Palnadu region, where a martyrs memorial was built in the latter part of time also. When Naxalites came for talks from Nalamala forest into Hyderabad, there was a first meeting was held at Guttikonda Bilam. Remember this word, this place? You might be asked. The first meeting immediately when the Naxalites came out of forest, there was a first meeting, public meeting, 2004, Guttikonda Bilam, and the martyrs column was built in memory of these people. So, communists who are supporting Naxalbari were two streams. One stream is Kondapalli Sitaramaya, Satyamurthy, Rauf, and many others like these people. They were totally supporting Charu Mazumdar. And the other stream, that is, they were differing with Charu Mazumdar at many points. Like Charu Mazumdar was for annihilation, means completely you should kill the class enemy. Unless and until you kill the class enemy, you cannot succeed. So they were opposing it. Though Charu Mazumdar denied that he is not for just annihilation, he was for political activity in the latter phase also. But the main aspect or the main criticism on Charu Mazumdar was annihilation. So, against mass organizations, Charu Mazumdar did not advocate building mass organizations for revolution, because before Naxalbari, CPI or CPM had many mass organizations. The criticism on these parties by the Naxalbari people were, these people start mass organizations and don't do revolution. So, against this trend, they were not starting mass organizations except the peasant committees. So, no mass organization and Khatam, such differences are there. And slogans like Chairman Mao is our chairman, means China's chairman is our chairman. Chinese path is our path is one slogan. Once you enter into next phase, along with your Chinese path is our path, the slogan of these times was China's chairman is our chairman, means Mao is our chairman. So this is also not palatable for many people, and these differences kept them aloof from CPI-ML. So these people started APCCCR, Tarimela Nagireddy, Devulapalli Venkateshwara Rao, Chandra Pullareddy, Kolla Venkayya, all these people differed, and they are in different stream. That is why we can see in Naxalite movement in Telangana or Andhra Pradesh, we have two streams. One stream is People's War stream. Kondapalli Sitaramaya, KG Satyamurthy, Rauf, all these people started. That stream became People's War, CPI-ML People's War in 1980. In 1980, they renamed the party CPI-ML People's War. The other stream is led by Tarimela Nagireddy, D. Venkateshwara Rao, Chandra Pullareddy, Devulapalli Venkateshwara Rao. So popularly known as TNDVCP. There it is KS SM, Kondapalli Sitaramaya, Satyamurthy. So these two streams were completely into different orientation. One is completely supporting CPI-ML, the other is not supporting CPI-ML. So as a result, what has happened? The two paths are being propagated, implemented in Andhra Pradesh. We will see how it is manifesting in the next part of our lesson. But now, first let's look into the impact of Naxalbari on Telangana. Because we talked about Naxalbari, it spread, but the Naxalbari's impact on Telangana. Why Naxalbari is appealing to Telangana? 1969, Telangana was into agitational mode. Students, youth and intellectuals were fighting for separate Telangana, and it went into setback. Once any movement which was so militant, fighting for a great task, great right, is into setback, the desperation, the agony, the pain will be translated into something else. Sometimes it goes into negative aspect also, but this time it took shelter, that feelings, and the people who were in Telangana movement, 1969 movement, immediately jumped into Naxalite movement. Very interestingly, in 1969 itself, in May itself, Chennareddy was warning the government, saying that if you don't resolve the issue of Telangana, they may go to Naxalism. They may join Naxalite parties. Chennareddy was warning because he's a political leader. He knows the dimensions, the dynamics of the people's agitations. So now, what has happened? The Telangana movement set back, and it is one of the important source of the youth and students, intellectuals, to join into Naxalite movement of 1970s. And both CPI-ML fraction and APCC-CR both started working in Telangana. So as a result, you have different areas gradually spreading the Naxalite impact or Naxalite politics and growing of movements under the leadership of Naxalite organizations. And the objective conditions in Telangana, the feudalism still strong, going strong. What has happened in 1946-51? We had Telangana armed struggle. Really, Telangana armed struggle has addressed a big issue, that is feudalism. 10 lakh acres were liberated, 3,000 villages were liberated, lot of landlords were chased out, driven out of the village. But do you think it is completely a successful revolution or a successful anti-feudal struggle? No. What has happened? The same feudal lords or the landlords who went out of the village when the heat was there in the village, means the movement was at its peak, came back into the village with a bang under the new dress code. You can see this, a metaphorical expression, very symbolic expression in Mabhumi film. These people came back as the leaders of Congress. So the same landlord who was under Nizam is coming as a political leader into the village. So where is the feudalism? Is it gone or still there? So feudalism was still there. Even in 70s, we can see the intensity of the oppression, feudal oppression in Telangana villages. Doras were there. Economic oppression was there. Social oppression was there. Caste oppression was there. Women were oppressed, raped. And one of the tragic incidents we talk about, even Batukammas, Naxalite movement has brought one case, one incident in Karimnagar district in one gadi. Dora was ordering the Dalit women to play Batukamma, to perform Batukamma dance naked in his gadi. Do you see the oppression of the Dora in gadi in 1970s? So intense. So naturally, this is the ground on which the Naxalite movement will start, will begin. And the target is feudalism. So this is the objective condition in Telangana. And tribals, come to tribals. Tribals are completely alienated. Despite of having so many tribal laws, their land is alienated. Outsiders, non-tribals occupied the lands. There is no organization or a support to raise their voice. Sometimes Ramji Gond will come in 1860s or Komram Bhim will come. But where is the party in support of the tribals? So Naxalites addressed this problem. That is why Naxalism had a greater impact in tribal areas too in Telangana. Lastly, the students, youth, intellectuals, they are not into class struggles. They are not the peasantry to get completely exploited directly. But these people were inspired by the intellectualism of the Marxism, Leninism or Mao Zedong thought. These people were inspired by the struggles waged by the people who were completely oppressed. And they were standing in support of these oppressed masses, and these people were in support, and they are writing poetry, they are coming into organizations, they are going to villages, getting declassified. Means declass means you should come out of your class nature. Go and join with the peasantry who are toiling, who are sufferers in the village. So they are getting declassed. They are going to the villages. So student, youth and intellectuals are the biggest source to spread Naxalite movement in this period. We will see how this has happened. Then, coming to the mass organizations, though the movement, the topic says spread and rise of Naxalite movement, they are not describing in detail. But without understanding the mass organizations, without understanding the role of different sections in Telangana society, you can't understand why this Naxalite movement has grown to such an extent. So, Naxalite movement has a bigger source in student movement. Inspired by Naxalbari movement, students who were in student federation came out of it and started Progressive Democratic Students, PDS, and George Reddy was the leading light of 1970s. Even today, the revolutionary student movement, the left student movement, which are aligned to Naxalite politics, take George Reddy as their inspiring leader. George Reddy, though he lived for a short while, a student of Usmania University, George Reddy was a brilliant scholar and he was in PDS, that is Progressive Democratic Students, and in 1972 April he was murdered by ABVP and some of the goons. So what has happened? Already in Usmania University or any other political, we can see the contradictions between the student organizations. Since he is ultra-left organization, the contradiction with other organizations we can see. So George Reddy was killed near in Usmania University campus itself, and his martyrdom inspired many people. George Reddy was a dreamer. Like Che Guevara, George Reddy, what he did, very interestingly, Che Guevara life, if you see, Che Guevara toured Latin America on motorcycle to study the conditions of Latin America. And he has written motorcycle diaries. And he, in those lines, George Reddy was trying to see the Telangana villages on bicycle, and he toured some of the villages and got inspired. Though he was a budding revolutionary, a few years he lived his life as a revolutionary, but he inspired the student movement at that point of time. So, PDS or Progressive Democratic Students came out of SF, and these people were supporting Naxalbari politics. And inside this PDS also there are two streams. One stream is saying that we should propagate Naxalbari politics openly to the peasantry, to the people, and we should openly say. And one stream says, no, we need not say. We'll stick to the student issues and we'll do it wherever it is useful, not here. Then those who want to propagate Naxalbari politics openly came out of PDS and started Radical Students Union. And this Radical Students Union in 1974 became a powerful organization to spread Naxalbari politics in Telangana. They have started Go to Village campaign. For example, you can see one performance, one act will change the entire scenario. Go to Village campaign was a campaign by RSU in a very big way. Every year, hundreds of students were sent to villages. Though the students are from villages, again they are going back to villages. They came to city as students, but going back to villages as revolutionaries, as revolutionary students. Going back to villages, not to their own villages, some packets they will be selecting, and this team, 5, 10, 15, this team will go to the villages, know the problems of the people and understand it, start organizations. Like if the problem is about the bonded labor or wages, they will start peasant organization. Like that, student organization became a big instrument in organizing the peasantry or the people in the rural areas when they started this Go to Village campaign. This was asked in one of the TSPSC examination, remember. So, Go to Village campaign is one of the bigger campaign by students. So, students, as I said, organizing the peasantry. And when they are going into villages, Naxalbari politics is not part-time politics. What is happening? The students who got inspired by Naxalbari politics are some of the students will be leaving their studies and going permanently to the village to organize the peasantry, to organize the oppressed. So what they were doing, for example, in 1975, after this Go to Village campaign started, students were sent to villages so that they will go settle. They will not be given any money. Just they have to go like this with one bag, with some books and minimum clothes. No money, nothing. You have to depend on the people, win the confidence of the people, win the confidence of the oppressed, be part of them. This was the teachings of the leadership. So students went and trying to settle in the rural areas. And 1975, a major incident has happened in the history of revolutionary student movement or Naxalbari movement or civil rights movement, we can say. 1975, emergency declared. On 24th July, 4 students who went to Giraipalli region, who went to this Medak district, forestry region, and they were captured. 4 students, one was Surapaneni Janardhan, Murali Mohan Reddy, Sudhakar, Anandrao, all were the students from Warangal. Surapneni Janardhan was a student of Regional Engineering College known as REC. In those days, in the beginning, when the students were getting organized under Naxalbari politics, REC was known as Radical Engineering College instead of Regional Engineering College, REC. Surapneni Janardhan was one of the first generation REC students who got inspired by Naxalbari politics and went to villages. And these 4 people were captured, arrested by the police, and they were taken into the forest at Giraipalli and they were shot dead, point blank range. And they claimed that that was an encounter. And on this, see, encounter means actually both the parties should have weapons in their hands and fight upon each other. And in that someone will die, may die, will die or may die. But here, civil liberties organizations or human rights organizations are calling these are fake encounters because they have been captured and they were tied to, and then they were shot dead. That is illegal, unconstitutional. This is known as extrajudicial or extra-constitutional. You can't kill the people by after tying. If it is an encounter, that can be. Even Supreme Court has given guidelines about these things. Nowadays, the guidelines is any encounter, though it is a genuine encounter, first FIR should be filed. This is after a serious struggle by the civil liberties organizations. So, this is a question of human rights. So, these 4 students were killed, and on this, after emergency in 1977, April, a committee was constituted, Tarkunde Committee. This Tarkunde Committee, Justice Tarkunde, in this committee there were many important people like Navakrishna, one ex-CM of Odisha, and important literary personalities and journalists, some political people, everyone part of Kannabiran. All these people were part of this Tarkunde Committee. Tarkunde Committee gave a preliminary report saying that this is a fake encounter. Why I am talking about Giraipalli encounter first? Because 1977, this is one of the political activity immediately happening after emergency. So this political activity is none other than Naxalbari politics getting into the entrenched into the soil of Telangana and getting shot dead, and you are talking about the rights of the people who got killed in this by the state. So, Tarkunde Committee gave its report. Based on this, again the government has to appoint a commission known as Bhargava Commission to look into the aspects of all the fake encounters or killings happening during emergency period in Andhra Pradesh. This is another committee. In the list of committees, you may get such questions: Tarkunde Committee, Bhargava Commission, Justice Bhargava Commission. This Bhargava Commission was appointed by the government. Tarkunde Committee is a civil initiative that was initiated by the people of different walks, from the different walks of life. That is non-governmental. But this Bhargava Commission is a government commission appointed by the government to look into the encounters in Andhra Pradesh. July 1977 it was appointed, and this Bhargava Commission has clearly come out with evidences that this should be a fake encounter. Giraipalli was a fake encounter. But very interestingly, as we see in the history, all the reports which are against the armed forces or uniformed forces will be suppressed. The only pretext is that will demoralize the force. Jalagam Vengal Rao opposed this, and finally because of the lobbying, because of the pressure they have mounted, this Bhargava Commission could not come out with the full report, and that is half thing. So as a result, what we see here, Bhargava Commission unfulfilled. But the moral victory is for the people who were accusing the state that this is a fake encounter. So Giraipalli encounter is one of its kind, first one in a big way. 4 students got killed. This is related to our student movement. Student movement, RSU, PDSU. These 2 names you should remember. RSU is representing the politics of CPML People's War. PDSU is representing the politics of APCCCR people like Tarimila Nagareddy, DV and Chandrapula Reddy. So even today you have the different student organizations. PDSU is there, but RSU is banned. So you don't find RSU today, but PDSU is still there working in institutions, education institutions. So this is about student movement. Another important movement is revolutionary writers movement. Revolutionary writers got inspired by Naxalbari movement. really interesting aspect is students drove them to take side of the Naxalbari path. రచయితలారా మీరెటువైపు, పీడితుల వైపా పీడకుల వైపా? On whose side you are was the pamphlet released by Vishaka students when Naxalbari movement was at its peak. So, literary personalities, writers has to take stand in support of Naxalbari movement. Sri Sri, a stalwart of Telugu literature. Till then, he was in Abhyudaya Rachayitala Sangam, Progressive Writers Association, has to take side. And Sri Sri, Ravi Shastri, Rachakonda Vishwanath Shastri, like stalwarts, these were names established, well-established names in Telugu literature by this time. These people came out and formed Virasam. Virasam started in 1970, 4th July, coinciding with the martyrdom of Doddi Komurayya in 1940s. That is, Telangana armed struggle, Doddi Komurayya martyrdom is 4th July. Again, 4th July is Virasam formation day. Virasam had different people coming into Viplava Rachayitala. Virasam is Viplava Rachayitala Sangham. In English, we call it as Revolutionary Writers Association, RWA. In Telugu, short form, that is Virasam. So, Virasam came in 1970, 4th July. And another organization is Janasahiti. In Virasam, Digambar Kavulu, like Cherabandaraju, Nagnamuni, Jwalamukhi, Bairavaya, Nikhileshwar. These 5 were under the group of Digambara Kavulu. They came out of this Digambara Kavitva movement and they were part of revolutionary movement. Cherabandaraju became a stalwart in Revolutionary Writers Association, Virasam. He has written fantastic poetry in support of the toiling masses. And Varavarrao, part of this Tiragabadu Kaulu of this. This is, I said, simmering 60s. Simmering 60s expressed in different ways. All the aspects like the movement, the people, dissent was expressed in poetry, political movement. So there were many groups. Tiragabadu Kaulu, March Kaulu, all these organizations were there. So Varavarrao was a budding poet in 60s and he became part of Revolutionary Writers Association. Sri Sri, Ravi Shastri, Cherabandaraju, Varavarrao, KVR, Koku, all these people were part of Koku, Kodavatiganti Kutumrao, all these people were part of MT Khan from Hyderabad. All these people were founding members of Viplava Rachayitala Sangam, which supported Naxalbari movement. Lastly, the cultural movement. We know Jananatya Mandali, Gaddar and Arunodaya. These are the pioneer organizations for revolutionary cultural movement. Started as archivers in 1970, started by B. Narsingh Rao and Gaddar as a cultural organization, gradually transformed into Jananatya Mandali. Gaddar, Sanjeev, Divakar, all these names are associated with Jananatya Mandali. It was a popular organization with so many cultural forms. Songs came out during this Naxalbari movement. And it was a very interesting phenomena that they have sold at least lakhs of songs books and it became a popular organization. Even today, the forms, the costumes Telangana artists wear was initiated by Jananatya Mandali. So, this is about Jananatya Mandali, which was serving to spread the politics of Naxalbari. Same thing with Arunodaya Samskritika Samakhya, Vimalaka, who took part in Telangana movement in the last phase 2. So, these people were spreading the Naxalbari politics or Naxalite movement's ideology in the society. To conclude, what do we conclude today? That is, objective conditions were ripe for Naxalite movement in the country in 60s and in Telangana too. So, this has made us to accept a new type of politics. Different sections became part of the Naxalite movement and uprising. And finally, the setback of Naxalbari and leaders of Andhra Pradesh organized after the setback in Naxalbari. What is happening? In Telangana, leaders are again organizing from lower level and building up a new movement. This is what has happened. And lastly, not just the peasant movement, but the mass organization played an important role in spreading the Naxalite movement in Telangana. In the next topic, we will be seeing how the Naxalite movement has spread in the villages and revolutionary peasant struggles are occurring in Telangana soil.